All right, y'all. Welcome to Beyond the Armor. And man, I am so honored today to kick off the first ever interview with somebody who's very prominent in the tech space. But not only that, how we met and our relationship is more organic than probably this podcast would ever be. But I just want to give y'all a breakdown of what Beyond the Armor is about. Beyond the Armor is about behind the armor, right? We grow in life and we have all of these titles, software engineer, whatever field that we're in, and we get all these accumulation of degrees and everything else. But this is a podcast where we find out who that person is behind all of those accolades and things of that nature. So just want to give you who I am as the host. I am Seth Johnson. I'm a software engineer and a clinical mental health therapist associate, and I'm very big into mental health. And today we have Andrew Hansen. Andrew, before we even start today, man, I really want to just talk about how we met. We met in a Code Path class. For all of you that do not
Mhm.
know about Code Path, it's one of the most prominent organizations across the United States that give opportunities to people that are in college to learn valuable technical skills such as AI and all of that. So if you want to search them up, look at codepath.org and it'll give you the information. But anyway, back to me and Andrew. We met in the class, we hit it off, and I knew it was something about Andrew that was different because I meet a lot of people, right? But we hit it off and we didn't get to talk much after, but I knew that he would be someone that I could call on when I need him. So, Andrew, I thank you for being here today on Beyond the Armor. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm grateful to be on and be on the first episode and excited to really kick it all off, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I am too. So we're not going to leave them waiting. Andrew, before we get started, while we get started, let's talk about your origin. Who is Andrew Hansen?
Yeah, I can begin, I guess, going to college. So recently, about me, I have
Let's
a
go back to
recent.
childhood. Let's go back to childhood. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah. So all the way from childhood to today, I growing up, I love computers. So I think when I first had my first computer, or I guess technical computer, was kind of like my dad's old, was like Windows. I want to say Windows 98,
Yeah,
and man, it was really cool. It's really a boxy sort of computer,
for
and
sure.
from there, I would begin. After that, we began borrowing from my mom's laptop when I was, I think, around 8. And kind of going from there. Windows 7 laptop, and so I get a bunch of games and all that sort of stuff. And I guess you could say that's kind of like my beginnings and origins of my technical portion and parts.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
from there, I was really fascinated by technology. My brother also was in computer science, and
Oh, got an origin of it.
he would do technology as well. And from there, I didn't really think I've always had technology origin. Funny enough, actually, before I went into my career in technology, I wanted to become a doctor.
Wow. See, you see, that's what we got to find out. So what drew you to wanting to become a doctor in the beginning?
You know, 2 things. I mean, you could say first thing is the money. I mean, there's a lot of things you can see on a lot of the salaries and everything and money. But I think also really is helping people. I think to me, just caring and helping about people is one of the biggest things for me.
Yeah.
And so from there, though, I found I absolutely sucked at chemistry. I did better at math, though. Did better at math, and then from there, I just thought about, okay, well, I have two other paths. I could do anything in law, but I didn't really know much about writing. And so math has kind of became the big thing for me. And then I went to computers and eventually went to IU South Bend's informatics program.
Okay.
And from there, I just kind of went into it.
Yeah, so that's very interesting because me and you have like a similar way that we look at life, right? Helping people. Just a little bit about me since this is the first episode, y'all can know a little bit about me too. I'm a former residential director of a nonprofit that took care of youth that come from traumatized homes. I did that for a while, and then also I wanted to go deeper, so I went into clinical mental health, got my master's at Webster University, and while I was well, pertaining my master's, I ended up teaching myself how to code. So that's a little bit about me. So but we're gonna focus on Andrew. I just want to give that background because this is the first episode. So, Andrew, you went to IU. Tell me about the experience there, man.
Man, I tell you what, when I started going into it, I made it my absolute, like, I guess you could say, my goal to just get into a bunch of clubs as soon as possible. So I would kind of go into clubs that I didn't really know much about, like games and sort of things and board games, tech. Um, and eventually I found myself going into a lot of things with business and technology.
Yeah, I
And
saw that you was not to cut you off, but I seen that you was in the entrepreneurship student club, the botany club, the dance club, right? I listen, listen, Andrew, listen. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's my brother for sure, right? Like, because I'm like, man, this man in the dance club, and then also powerlifting, man. You got to tell these people like with joining these clubs, man, like tell me about
definitely
the dance club. Let's
unorthodox.
talk about the dance. Let's talk about the dance club. What did you do at
Oh
the dance club?
man. It's kind of funny. So we did a lot of different sort of dances. It was really up to, I guess you could say, the crowd. So we did different things. We did Latin dancing. I think it's like K-pop or J-pop sort of dancing. I didn't really know much about that, so
Awesome.
that was interesting. Um,
Yeah.
Other than that, it was pretty fun. The community is pretty cool, and just love being part of it.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
you're just a very busy person, right? And yeah, I see powerlifting club, international student organization, Latino student union, book club, of course, and then and all that was at the South Bend. And so, with your focus, I see that you have been focusing a little bit more on AI, and we're going to also
Mhm.
talk about your incoming going to Georgia Tech's master's program that's very prominent in the tech community as well. But tell me about your focus on AI, and what is your admirations toward AI?
Well, my focus right now on AI, I'm still learning more about it. There's a lot of different podcasts and things I've also listened to and seen that talk about the unpredictable future of jobs and the market and what would that all look like. But I found that it's always been a very interesting tool for me. I've used a lot of different tools. I was using Lovable for quite a bit
Hmm.
and learned a lot of using that, Claude, the Claude Cowork, different sort of chatbots and stuff like that. Just kind of learning what are they really using for and what is it really, I guess you can say, good at in terms of really how do you learn from this tool.
Yeah,
It definitely helped a lot in terms of research too. I think one of the most prominent things I really enjoyed working with the tool is kind of like, I guess you say, having it teach me like as if like I'm a student
yeah,
or a grandma in
yeah,
certain topics, especially in learning new frameworks. And I say mainly in frameworks, a lot of different frameworks and stuff in terms of tech.
yeah.
Yeah.
So many different frameworks too. So what I like my stance on AI is that it's a great tool, but it's a limiting tool too.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, like I mentor students at Code Path now, and then also at Code the Dream, which is the first boot camp that I started. And it's free boot camp, free for people that may not come from a computer science background. A lot of older people are in it, people from different
Mm-hmm.
nations and stuff. So if y'all want to check out them, y'all check out codethedream.org. But what I teach my students is it's so important to learn foundations, right? The
Yeah.
foundation of code, and most of the time it's patterns. Like you're a back end engineer, you know when you're building like an API that you're pretty much destructuring the request body, to get the name, the value. It's almost the same all the time. Even though systems are built different, the patterns are so similar, and so I teach them
Yeah.
about that and how it's so important to learn that before you even think about AI, because AI is a tool that can be taken away. Look how
Mm-hmm.
Claude tried to release Fable when it was very powerful, but it
Yeah, I
was
noticed
held off
that.
by the government, and so that could happen, right? So,
Mhm. Yeah, I
okay.
noticed a lot of things, in terms of that too, of how, what is it? The different sort of, I guess, reactions in terms of Fable 2, and that's kind of adding on of how the spread of Claude and everything is kind of going about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I have obtained my first software engineer position. I'm not gonna
Congrats.
share it yet. I'll share it at a proper time. You gotta make sure these things, because companies have NDAs and things of that nature. So I want to respect that space. But it's kind of here because I want to bring you on because of how the fears of not getting into tech and how AI has taken over and all these things. It has discouraged a lot of students. Andrew, if you had 1 or 2 points or encouragement to give students about continuing their path in tech, what would those points be?
Mm, it's taking it from like a student position. I would say one quote I really like. Have you ever seen Shark Tank?
Yes, I have.
You know, Barbara Cochran, or I think it's Barbara Cochran. But one thing that she said was like something with wearing different hats. And I think when you're young and you're in college or as a student in general, I think really getting type of hats and things that you're looking into in technology. Like for example, maybe you don't want to become an engineer. Maybe you want to become an analyst of some sort, or maybe you want to go into cybersecurity, somewhere in technology, you know, and just keep seeing about, okay, I like doing this. I like maybe the more problem solving arc, or maybe something in general in that sort of space. So I'd say definitely kind of that pressure test on hats and looking into just what really interests you.
Yeah,
And I think my other point I would say is when you find that interest, diving deep.
yeah,
One thing I would add too is also the importance of system design.
yeah,
A lot of something I've been kind of seeing in terms of programming is a lot of coders and engineers having their own, what is it, like owning their own project. So
yeah,
when you're assigned, let's say, a task or a project, you're owning on top of that project and
for
having that
sure.
accountability working on that project.
Yeah.
So definitely the importance of that as well.
Yeah, I agree with that because accountability is something that I feel like is losing its grasp somewhat in the world. Because most time when we look at the news now, people are like pointing fingers at other people and other
Yep.
things of why they're not getting in, and sometimes even I hate to say it, LinkedIn has become like the stomping ground for people to complain instead of to uplift others and uplift themselves, and so it's kind of saddening to see. But my thing was exactly what you said, going deep. My wife, right? So you remember me and you first talked when we was in Code Path, and I was telling you that I was doing some cybersecurity stuff and also,
Yeah.
programming stuff. And so I was one of those people that's kind of touching a couple of different parts, even though they go together, right?
Mhm.
But it still was like I was just kind of all over the place. And my wife had a conversation with me, and she was like, baby, you just need to focus on one area for a moment, right? And it
Mhm.
was a real moment. It was like, man, if my wife that doesn't, focus so much on like what I'm doing was able to comprehend that I'm like all over the place, then I must be all over the place. So I started
Yeah.
focusing more on system design. I knew enough about cybersecurity, enough, authorization, authentication, those type of things, but building more systems, taking ownership. And then with my last cohort with Code the Dream, we was in a practicum. So it was a team of five
Mm.
people, but we ended up getting down to four, and we built a chess management tool. So like a chess tournament management tool where people, sign up for a tournament and we go through all the brackets and all of that. So that was very fun, and I owned the controllers, right? The
Mhm.
controllers and the routers, I owned that, and it was so much fun because I had time to really focus on that one area. So awesome,
Yeah.
Andrew. Yeah, man. So you also have a background in data analytics as well.
Yeah. Data analytics.
Wow, man. And then no, so before we even talk about that, let's go somewhere else right now, man. Because like I say, you've been all everywhere, right? Stanford's code in place. Now, this
Yep.
is something that I was researching that I was gonna do, but it was like, man, I'm already head over heels for classes and all this. Tell me about Stanford's Code in Place. I seen that one of the professors on YouTube, amazing guy, has a love for
Mhm.
code and a love for the
Yep.
program, and I think he started it. But tell
Yeah.
me, what was your experience with Code in Place?
That was awesome. I wasn't able to fully complete it, but I was able to participate in a lot of the sessions and tell you I think the sessions were great. Especially if someone's a really a complete, I guess you could call it a noob or a beginner, you know,
Yeah, noob is video game. Noob is video game lingo. Yeah, go
uh,
ahead.
but I tell you, I think that if you don't know anything about programming, it can definitely get you started on it. They use something very, it's a little bit different than Python. I guess you could say it's a little, it's the same. I think about what was the language. Some sort of, oh man, just gonna
Was
look it
it
up.
basic? Like, I forgot what it's called. Like, it's a language before they teach you Python. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, trying to look it up. But some sort of language, and it's pretty interesting. I think I already learned a little bit of Python before, and I also with the what is it, the code path as well really helped me get down my fundamentals, especially in dictionaries. And but besides that, I think that it really just helped me a lot in how you say like problem solving.
Yeah.
There are sort of some sort of people who did their own projects. I saw was like something I saw is Homer Simpson, and it's pretty interesting. Yeah, in a way, it's like have you ever used Python's turtle?
No, I have not.
No, it's kind of like that. I think where you can kind of shift and move those blocks and color and stuff. So it's pretty cool. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Awesome, awesome, man. Like I said, like I'm all into learning more, and I just seen the enthusiasm, and I think that's what attracts me to like programs is if the people who own in the program like they're very enthusiastic about teaching people
Hmm.
and it being a convenience. Yeah, so awesome. Let's get into incoming graduate student going to Georgia Tech. First,
Yeah.
let's talk about what drew you toward that program, and then maybe what are you looking to get out of that program?
And I'll tell you, it was a really hard process for me. At least, like, I didn't really know if I really wanted to do a master's. Like, I was thinking about where I'm at right now, being 23. I'm thinking of like, okay, well, do I really want to do a master's and just go into more schooling, or should I look into a job and then maybe see about if I want to do school later? And so, talked to a lot of people. My brother, especially, he's been amazing. And also professors and mentors. And for me, I found that it was either I was accepted into two main schools. It was either LSU's MBA program, and I would have gone to that,
Right.
or this. And I kind of made my own tier list, and that's when I started talking a lot more to professors and such. And I found that it was really the best sort of place to go into right now and finding just finding where to really go from
Right.
here until I start thinking about more schooling until maybe, maybe I want to do an MBA later on, or maybe I could do a PhD, but maybe
Yeah.
that's years down the line. But
Yeah, yeah. That's cool, man. I heard a lot about the Georgia Tech program. I had a friend that started the program, but he I think he went on to do accounting because he I don't know what he thought about the program. I haven't asked him, but I know that it's a prominent program that I see a lot of people graduate from,
yeah.
and of course, Georgia Tech is top tier when you're talking about technology, right?
Yeah, I think it's number 10 or something. I know it's in the top 10 in global. And so that's what really made me thinking like, all right, well, this is a pretty big program. So I might as well get all the things and engage as much as I learn.
For
So we'll
sure, for
see.
sure, for sure. Awesome, man. So now we're gonna get to a place of I seen that you're starting the Hanson Principle,
Yep.
right? And so I want to know more about the Hanson Principle
Yeah.
and what's your idea behind that?
You know, should we go from the absolute beginning?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we got
So
time.
I guess you can say I'm an avid, I guess, podcast watcher. I love things in sort of sciences and stuff like that. I used to watch the Joe Rogan podcast and a lot of these are for podcasts. But I found that I've always enjoyed learning from other people, and learning is one of the biggest things to me and connecting with others.
Yeah.
And I think attending, what is it called? Recently, a couple months back, it was called Starting Small Business Summit, and
Was
that
that
gave
at
a lot of
Harvard?
inspiration. No, nope.
Okay. Okay.
It was through Bethel University. I was
Okay.
invited as a part of my experience as a community manager at IU
Okay.
South Bend. But originally, I just came up with the idea of thinking, well, I like learning about other people's stories and sitting down with others and just kind of learning, what helped them kind of build their business and what sort of principles led them up to stay with it. So example, like I was thinking of before, my first thought was like how Mark Cuban, I think I'm probably a little bit wrong, but I think his story is how he started when he was young and he had these like trash bags and then he started selling it off and then eventually got his first pair of shoes with that money he got from these neighbors and people such as like that.
Yeah.
And, it's just those principles of what really kept you going. Is it your motivation, your commitment, confidence? What is it? And so from there, that kind of maybe led to starting it. And I'm really excited. It has a lot of interesting guests, and I'm really excited to continue it, man.
Yeah. Awesome, man. And where can people find the actual podcast?
Yeah. So it's on YouTube. There's I think it should be on Spotify coming up. There's gonna be a bunch of episodes coming up hopefully soon. And it's called the Hanson Principle. Be sure to check it out.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure that I put it up on the screen. So for people that we don't have it up on the screen now, but we will have it up there. Yeah, man, I think I'm gonna tell you the truth, man, and this is gonna be wild to you, man. When I saw you introduce that, so a little bit about Beyond the Armor podcast. I made this back in March, right?
Mm.
And I didn't do anything with it. I had plans, time and things were going on. And so the other week, I saw you post about the Hanson Principle, and
Oh
I was like,
wow.
you know what, man? Let me go ahead and man, that's what I'm telling you. You never know
Yeah.
who you affect, right? You never know who is paying attention to you or who respects you. And so that's why it's so important for us to always be like, encouraging because your spirit,
Mm.
more than anything is encouraging. And so when you put that up, I said, well, maybe I'll
Yeah,
ask
just
him to be
start.
my first guest. You know what I mean? And and
Yeah.
and we're here,
Here
right?
we
So
are
that's
now, man.
yeah, yeah. That's why it's so crazy, man. So yeah, what I was going to ask you, you said something about faith, right? As far as the
Hmm.
Hanson principle, tell me about your faith.
Man, I guess it all traces back to the beginning of childhood. I didn't really grow up in terms of faith, in
Yeah,
terms of a family of faith. My family's backgrounds do have a mix of faith,
yeah,
but really, I think I would say this past 4 years, more probably recently, this past year and so on and so forth. I've really just been digging into it. Actually, what is it? I have some books actually that have just a bunch of just sort of Bibles and as a warning of like, what does the scripture really mean? And just diving
right,
in deep.
yeah,
One of my was I used to be part of I used to help in Chi Alpha
yeah,
and one of the what is it? One of the guys' favorite podcasts. I've kind of turned into my own favorite podcast. I think it's called like what is it? Now I'm mentioning it. I think it's like the Bible podcast, but it's pretty good.
yeah,
But I really been enjoying that. And yeah, so faith is just going strong. Um,
yeah. Good. And
enjoying
you're
the way.
finding out for yourself. And I think that's where a place is at. And it could be a very sensitive topic for a lot of people, and which I
Hmm.
understand because I'm one of those men of faith. And that's why I was willing to take a career change so late. I'm 41 years old, and to take a career and bend while I'm finishing up another, study. was a leap of faith, and for me, faith is everything, and that's why I continue to love on people because it's a lot of people out here
Mhm.
that are, on the edge. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like my wife does this thing, right? So we'll go to the grocery store, and every time they check us out, my wife will call that person by their name tag and say,
Mhm.
"Hey, I thank you for coming to work today." And they eyes are like just light up
Yeah.
because
A
you
little
don't
bit of
understand. They got
kindness.
these name tags, right? But people don't never call them by their name. But my wife does
Mhm.
that. And so I make it a part of who I am now. It's like when I go in stores, I always call people by their name.
Yep.
And so yeah, through tech, man. And I think with all the talk about AI and all those things, it's easy to be discouraged. But I knew, like through my faith, to keep pressing. So,
Yeah, man, there's this I tell you some sort of like, what is it, thing I learned from a conference. I don't know if he's really a huge best conversational target, but I say Kevin O'Leary did something I
yeah, I know
thought that was
Kevin.
really interesting that he mentioned at a conference I went to, as his business conference. But for students, one of the biggest thing was noise. I think it was signal versus noise. And
Yes,
I think it was something he said that 80% signal and 20% noise is the best way to become successful.
that sweet spot.
And getting that it really made me think at the time because like signal versus noise, like what is that? And
Yeah.
so after doing a lot of researching and learning more about it, there's a lot of noise and a lot of things that can really distract you if you're not careful. You
And
know,
you have to
so
filter for the signal. Yeah, and
yeah,
and like you said, like a lot of things we hear is noise, but you have to kind of look for the signal. And I think
hmm,
that's like where my faith come in at, right? Because it says, it talks about how the world is going to become. Like, and that's what made me dive deeper into my faith because I started reading like Revelation and stuff in the Bible, and then you start seeing like the way the world is moving, and then you're like, man, this is already in the word. So what does it
yeah,
say about me staying focused, right? And
yeah, man,
that's Kevin O'Leary is hitting on that point. It's a lot of things going on around us, right? Every reason in the world to be discouraged, to be depressed, but all of that is noise. So if you
hmm,
block out the noise or filter through the noise to get the signal, then you'll get on your path to your purpose. And I think that's the main thing about Beyond the Armor, baby. We here today,
yeah,
man. Yeah. So if and matter of fact, man, this our podcast is amazing right now, and I'm not gonna hold you too long, man. I think for the first episode, and definitely got to get you back. But this is where I want to end off at today, man, because we talked about a lot of great things, your admirations and your faith and direction that you're going in life. But let's talk about if we was to take everything off of Andrew, the Georgia Tech incoming, the IU graduate, the community leader, the business representative, all of these things, the AI entrepreneur, all these things, we take all those things away from Andrew. Who are you?
person. I think they mentioned back in Genesis. I think one of the things I think to me is that every person is unique to themselves. Taking action for where you want to go is the right way to really go and continue into if you want to be successful and such things like that. I think to me, I would just say I'm an ordinary person at the end of the day. I think the best way I've been really, I'll say I'll use my brother's quote is to be like the smallest person in the room, So
Yeah, being the smallest person in the room, soaking up all the information, right?
yeah.
Dale Carnegie, I read this book, and matter of fact, it was my first book that I ever read to fulfill to the full capacity, and it's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Ooh, yeah.
And yeah, and Abraham Lincoln had a saying: "Is not a person that he did not learn something from," and most of the time he learned what not to do.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like even Bruce Lee, right? Bruce Lee learned about so many different forms of martial arts and fighting, but he took the good pieces of it and formed Jeet Kune Do. And so when I look at life, that's what I try to do, right? I try to this podcast is to also learn from everybody like I'm learning from you, and is to take the good parts that I can add to myself to become a better version of myself, man. So,
Mhm.
Andrew, man, listen, man, I thank you so much for
Mhm.
today. Is there anything else that you want to give to the people before you leave?
Hmm. Well, as to say, make sure to like and subscribe. You're gonna see amazing content, and make sure to give them a follow. And you know, if you're stuck in anywhere, wherever you are in life or anywhere you are, just keep on going, commit, and stay strong.
Hey, man, listen, y'all, this has been the first episode of Beyond the Armor. I'm your host, Seth Johnson, my boy, Andrew Hansen. First ever episode, man. God bless y'all. Y'all stay encouraged and keep going. We out.